Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to take a look this evening at percent applications. And most of this is review from what we did last year. We looked at 3 particular applications of percent. We did a bunch of stuff with percents, but these were some of the real life applications we talked about. We have commission, we have percent of change, and we have interest. Commission is if you're like a car salesman or a realtor, you earn a percentage of what you sell as commission. Okay, and that's going to be earnings over sales equals percent over 100. And I'm going to do a few examples of each of these with you. Percent of change is change, which we may have used the abbreviation delta. That's the triangle. Change over original equals percent over 100. And interest, I equals PRT, where interest is I, that's the money that you earned or that you owe for using the money. P equals, this thing keeps moving. P equals the money invested or the money you took out, which is called your principal. R equals the rate as a decimal. And T equals time in years. Okay? So we're going to do 3 examples, or we're going to do some examples of each of those types of situations just to review for you, and then I'm going to let you work on the packet on your own. All righty? So let's take a look for the first one. Okay, Archie, you're a realtor, and you are earning a 6% commission for every house that you sell. Find the commission that you earned on a house that sold for $388,500, and everyone else can find Archie's earnings also. So I'm trying to find the commission, okay, which is the earnings. That's her earnings. All right, so that's my X over the sale price of the house was $388,500, and the percent of interest is 6 over 100. So we just cross multiply, solve, simple math, 23,310 was her earnings. That's a nice little nugget. All righty, let's take a look at 6. Okay, here's an interest problem. Interest problems. So, and I mixed it up a little here for you because I wanted you to find the principal. I'm just going to write above here for a second. So this is our literal equations. I equals PRT, and I want you to solve for P. So that's going to mean P equals I over RT. Yes? So, going back to the problem, the loan is 12%, it's 2 years, and the interest paid was $132. So I want the principal. The interest paid was $132. The rate was 12%, so I put that in as 0.12, and it was 2 years. So you do the math, and the principal was $550. Plug and chug. Okay. Let's look at 4 because that one's a little different, and hopefully there's some more on this that are like this that are a little different. Okay, so I just want you to be careful here. This one I'm actually looking for the interest. Okay, so I can go ahead and use my formula I equals PRT. The loan is $1,800, so that's my principal. The rate is 5.5%, so you're still not going to put that in as 5.5. That's not what I mean by putting it in as a decimal. I mean you're changing the percent to a decimal. So this is 0.055, and it's 4 months. I want the time, as I said above, in years. So you have to think about what is 4 as a year. And I do not want you to put in 0.3 there. You must use the fraction because this is exact. 4 months is 1/3 of a year. So you're going to do 1/3. And it just so happens that 1/3 of 1800 is a really nice number anyway, right? So it works out fine, and you can plug it in your calculator, and you get $33. Okay? But don't cheat here, and don't cheat there. You'll get the wrong answer. All right, number 8, let's do. This is a percent of change. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find the change. There's 2 years ago. That's this year. What was the percent of increase to the nearest percent? All right, so this is going to be the first thing I need to do is take the 865 minus the 675 to get the actual change. So the change is 190. And then I can use my formula, which is change over original equals percent over 100. So that's 190 over the original, which was 675, equals what I'm trying to find, which is x over 100. Cross multiply, solve, and you should get 28.14, approximately 28%, since it says to the nearest percent. And this is an increase. Yay! All righty, I'm going to do a couple more with you. Let's see, what do I want to do here? You know, 9's always a little sticky, so let's do 9. The number of students in the Pittsford Central School District in 2000-2001 school year was 5,848. 10 years prior to that, there were 5,010 total students. What was the percent change in the 10-year period? All right, so we're talking about, just because the first number given to you is 5,848, that is not your starting point because this is 10 years prior. We want to know how much it changed in that 10-year period. So my starting point was actually the 5,010. That's my original. Okay, so the difference is 5,848 minus 5,010, and you should get 838 equals x over 100. Cross multiply, solve, and it is approximately 17%. Get a repeating decimal there. Okay? All right, let's look at a quick way to do like number 10. This is kind of just review. Well, you could do this a couple different ways, but the way I do this, okay, the easiest way. Television set that cost $750 last year, this year has a price that's 8% higher. Find this year's price. So the easiest way to do that is saying that this year it's 8% higher than it was last year. Well, last year, if you look at that as 100%, then this year it's 108%. Or 1.08 times last year's price. So think about, see if that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, make a little note here and we can talk about it tomorrow, okay, if you don't understand why I did that. But really think about what that means. I'm saying that last year was the 100%, this year it's 108% of that, okay? Let's see, so let's talk about maybe 14. Sarah bought a coat at 20% off and saved $24. What was the initial price of the coat? So all I know here is the savings, okay? If X is the initial cost of the coat, don't you love let statements? They help us think about it. Then I know that 0.2 times that initial cost was 24. Easy. Easiest thing to solve. So X would be $120. And does that make sense? This is, you know, percents are one of those things you really do need to think about. Does it make sense? 20% off and she saved $24 off a $120 coat. That does make sense. Okay? So I think that the rest of these should be pretty good. And I've taken up 9.5 minutes of your time. So I'm going to let you work on these alone, and then at your table groups tomorrow you can review them and discuss any discrepancies, and I can come around and help you. Have a wonderful evening. Sayonara.